Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make Nigerian butter agege bread. So I'll be starting off with flour. I'm using 2 cups of flour for this recipe. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I'm going to be adding half cup of sugar. So this recipe is this is my first time doing a voiceover, so it's really awkward for me. So this recipe is perfect if you just miss having like that fluffy nice bread. It's kind of time consuming, but it's totally worth it. So I had my half cup of sugar to the flour, as you can see, and then I'm going to be adding my yeast. I'm using active dry yeast. For this yeast, you can just add it, and when you're ready to mix, you mix in with warm water. So I struggled with cutting it open for a little while. You can see that I tried to cut it open the first time, it didn't open, and then I had to cut it again. So I had my yeast. Yeah, still struggling to cut it open. Yay, we finally cut it open. It's added to the mix. So after this, you're also going to add in your a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of salt. Actually, it's smaller than a teaspoon, like a very small amount of salt, like 2 teaspoons, I would say. No, 1 teaspoon is okay. You can see that I'm using like a measuring spoon. I'm not sure if that is, I think it's 2 teaspoons actually, because that was what I used to measure. I can't remember and I'm just using like regular iodized salt in this video. Okay, salt is in. Okay, I'm doing a little bit too much. I think just 2 teaspoons are enough. So after adding all of these ingredients, you go in with the whisk and you mix everything together. Yeah, that is my whisk. So you mix all your dry ingredients together. Make sure it's evenly mixed. Yeah. So I'm just mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing. And then I'm going to add in some butter. I'm using like half stick of butter. I put it in the microwave to kind of warm it up a little bit. Because it was just coming out from the fridge. So I'm going to remove my whisk at this point, and I'm going to go in with my hands, magic hands. So I'm going to be mixing with my fingers, everything together. So you want to make sure like you mix the butter in with the flour and everything. You want to do it, make sure it's well mixed in together. So I'm just mixing and mixing and mixing, making sure everything is even. More mixing and mixing and mixing. So once that is done, we're going to be moving into the next step. I forgot to mention that there is another ingredient that I forgot to add, but it's so nice when you do. Add powdered milk. Milk is so milk actually makes your bread taste very rich. I forgot to add milk in this recipe, so I'm going to be adding some warm water. You need warm water. Warm water is important because it helps activate your yeast. You don't want to use cold water because that's gonna make it's not going to make your yeast rise. So I just added 1 cup of warm water, and then I'm also going to go in again with my hands and mix. So I just want to mix. I don't have a big mixer, so I have to use my hands. So you can see me mixing. When you start to mix, you notice that your mixture is very sticky. That's the yeast. Yeah, it's very hard to mix because everything just sticks to your hands. Like my old hands were just like sticky, and I was just struggling to peel off the mixture from my hands. So you mix and mix and mix, as you can see me doing in the video with my hands. If you have a mixer, use a mixer. And I just want to mention that I'm not an expert in baking and making bread. This is just, I like baking. I enjoy baking. This is one of the things I like to do for fun. And I was like, you know what? Why not make my own bread at home? So yeah, you want to mix thoroughly. Mix. I'm trying to make sure I pick up every single dry flour in the bowl, which is why you see me kind of struggling a little bit. I want to make sure I grab everything basically. So you want to mix. It's a very sticky mixture, so you keep mixing. Me trying to free my hand so I'm able to mix. In a second, you're going to see me transferring the mixture onto the, what they call this thing in the kitchen again? What's it called? Onto the, whatever that surface is called. I can't remember. So I sprinkled flour on the surface before I put the dough. So you have to knead. This process is very important because this is the process that helps you to build the gluten. So you want to make sure you knead your dough really, really well. I tried to knead. It's a very sticky mixture, so it's like sticking to my hands as I was trying to. So basically, you want to knead to the point where the dough is not as sticky as it was. You need to add flour to your surface. So this is my second time adding flour because the dough is still very sticky. And then you go ahead and keep kneading. You knead and you knead and you knead and you knead and you knead. Yeah, super sticky. My entire hands were covered. Yeah, you want to knead your dough very, very well. So even more kneading, I'm trying to remove all of the bits and pieces on my fingers. Yeah. Alexa, play Spotify. That is me trying to get everything from my hands. So I continue kneading again. More flour again. Continue kneading again. Because I want my dough to get to the point where it's no longer as sticky as before. Yay. Da 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 da. Knead. Yeah, you can see my dough is becoming less sticky as I go on. So I tried to scrape what was left in the bowl because I'm like, what am I going to do with this little bit? So I added that, which is what you guys can see. Still added a little bit more to just do like more kneading. Yeah, I think the kneading is the rate limiting step of your entire process, basically. So you want to knead really well. Yeah, so you can see we are done with the kneading process. So I returned the dough back into my bowl, and then you're going to see me add like a coating of just vegetable oil, because we are going to leave our dough to rise. I left this dough to rise for about 19 minutes. I covered it with, okay, you're going to see what I cover it with in a minute. We've not got to that part of the video. Yeah, so this is me applying some vegetable oil on the dough. Alexa, play. Yeah, so that is me applying some vegetable oil. Okay, just want to apply it. I use like this, I don't know what this instrument is called in the kitchen. I just call it a brush to apply it. And I'm going to apply a saran wrap to seal the bowl so that my dough can rise. So I actually kept it inside my oven and I left it for 90 minutes. Alexa, please play. Yep, so that is it. It is covered, and then I actually wrapped it again with like a cloth, and then I put it inside the oven so that it traps that heat. Okay, you want to make sure that your dough is perfect. So you want to make sure that your dough is well sealed, which is what you see me doing. And then while that is going to be in the oven and rising, I'm going to be preparing my baking pan or my bread pan. So for your bread pan, you want to like coat it with some butter. I just used some leftover butter from what I used before, and I just coated it and I just set it aside. So I left the dough in the oven for about 90 minutes for it to rise, and you can see me like deflating it. So you want to deflate it. Let all that air out. And then you also want to coat your surface again with some flour, and then you're going to like knead it a little, make sure all the air comes out, which is what you are going to see me do in a second. So you just see me like pressing it down, making sure all the hair comes out. And yeah, that's what you can see in the video more. Yeah, and then you want to knead it a little bit. You're not kneading as much as you did before. You just need to knead it a little to make sure you deflate all the air inside the dough. So after I am done with this process, I'm going to start shaping my bread in preparation to put it in the bed pan. in the bread pan. What did I say? Bread pan. Bread pan, please. So you can see me folding the bread. You want to shape it into whatever shape you want, and then I'm going to be putting it inside my bread pan. So you're going to now cover your bread again for the second time and let it rise for about 30 to 45 minutes. I did like 30 minutes, I think. I'm sorry this is chaotic. This is my first ever. I won't call this a tutorial. I'm just showing you how I make my bread. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a tutorial. It's just more of like showing you my process of how I bake my bread. So yeah, so I cover it again with the saran wrap and I pop it into the oven for a second time. So during this time, you can start. So basically, this is the final results. I let it rise. I'm sorry I didn't show you guys before, but this is the final result. So basically, I pop it into the oven to bake. I baked for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and you want to make sure your bread rests. Don't do what I did here. It's so stupid. Oh my god, because you need your bread to rest in order for it to set. And this can take up to 1 hour. I was just so excited. I was just eager to eat the bread because it smelled so good. So thank you for watching. If you stayed up to the end, subscribe,